go. We're in studio, episode number 15 of How to Become a Sales Warrior podcast. In my studio today is not Ty White, so for all those ladies that are following us for Ty White, he's not going to be here today, but I have someone equally important in my life who's sitting in a chair right next to me, and his name is Stevie P. He has a last name, but I don't ever use it. Say hello, Steve.
Hello, Eddie. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing well. What company you work with?
Evo Platinum Sales Group, EPSG.
And what do you do?
We're in the merchant service business.
Ah, that lovely field. That lovely field. Well, we're gonna get back to that. I know you got lots to say on that.
We call that the shark-infested waters of the credit card processing world.
I always Stevie P is in my my Tuesday morning networking group, and he loves to stand up and tell everybody how it's the worst industry, even worse than the 4 lawyers in the room. Somehow I don't believe that, though. I think the 4 lawyers are still worse. Sorry.
We run very close.
It's a close 1-2 race. Today, How to Become a Sales Warrior book. We are jumping into chapter number 17. I know for you, Steve, because I know you personally, that you can definitely relate to this. The chapter is about inspiration, being inspirational to others, getting inspiration from people, being willing to saying I need inspiration from others, whether it's your wife, your partner, or someone you work with. In my book, I have a lot of people that I thank in the book, and one of the gentlemen who really inspired this podcast, my buddy Greg Rand, who was our first Zoom guest on the podcast. He's been inspirational. Why? Because he's an entrepreneur, and I like people who go out on their own, try their hand in business, fail or succeed, doesn't matter. They're not afraid to try. And that's where I find myself. But with inspiration comes, what are you inspiring? What are you inspiring? When you're trying to inspire someone, are you giving them the complete tools to inspire others?
Well, I always say, Eddie, I've been on top, I've been on bottom. I'll be both places again. I always say be nice to the people on the way up because you're going to see them on the way down. You don't even know this about me, but at age 50, they used to call me Stevie Pots and Pans.
You stole one of my questions for later. Where did that come?
I was in the direct sales business, and I was the number 2 guy out of 5,700 distributors selling pots and pans and dishes, direct sales, and I built it up to $100 million. And the founder of the company turned the company over to his son, and he terminated me, and I was the number 2 guy in the world for them and was involved in a federal lawsuit that I was victorious in, but I just about lost everything I had. So when you're saying about being inspirational, to lose everything and reinvent yourself at 50 years old, it's pretty humbling experience. And so when I manage people or I have referral partners, it is imperative that you give people the tools, as you say, to become successful. Because you don't want to spin your wheels. You don't want to have people start with you. You don't want to have false promises to them and make it seem like it's going to be very easy and then they fail. In fact, I like to do just the opposite. I'm a firm believer in everything I do in my life, under promise and over deliver.
Tell them how hard it's going to be.
I tell them and I tell people when they start working with me, if you don't give me a year of your life,
don't bother.
Don't even waste my time. I said, because my business is a penny's business. It's now become a very big pennies business with the way the industry's changed, with people charging the fee to the customer. But it's all about relationships. It's all about building trust. Trust, like I always say, people have to like you and they have to trust you. And if they don't like you and they don't trust you, there's no foundation, there's nothing else.
I win so much business on single phone calls of creating that trust that you talk about within 10 minutes of meeting somebody. I have the innate ability to create an atmosphere on a phone, someone I've never met, de-arm them, put them in the driver's seat, make them feel that they're driving the conversation, even though I know I am, and letting them feel that you're talking to the person who you want to talk to when you're doing this kind of project, that I'm the one that you want to talk to. And I close more one phone call deals than anyone in my company. They don't even understand how I do it. And it's exactly what you said, creating that trust, being able to convey to someone, I'm trustworthy. I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do. And that's really important.
Well, one of the ways that we create trust is, unlike a typical salesperson, I'll never get on the phone with somebody. And most of my business is referred because I have 290 referral partners that I monetize their cell phone. But even if they're a referral, I'll say, let's say it's you and you own a business, you own a flooring store. I'll go, Eddie, even though I was referred by Dave, I might not be able to save you business. So that disarms them right off the bat.
Right.
I go, if you're in a good place,
Stay.
I'm going to tell you you're in a good place. My business is very simple. It's either black or it's white. It's sales, but my industry, it's the easiest form of sales because I'm not asking the other person for money. Either I could help them or I can't help them. And so many people since COVID with inflation and higher prices, higher labor, higher gas, higher shipping, people are very open-minded where before COVID, even though it was a referral-based business, people used to shoo you off, say, don't worry, Stevie, I'm in a good place.
I'm good.
And I would say to them all the time, I would say, how the hell do you know if you wouldn't know if you were in a good place or not? You have to have a Harvard math degree to read a merchant statement. I mean, most people, all they do is reconcile to make sure they got the money. I said, I'll tell you if you're good. And sometimes people will say to me, oh, my friend does his processing, or does my processing. And so if you said to me, Stevie, my friend does my processing, I make people laugh, I diffuse them. I go, Eddie, I'll tell them if they're your friend.
Yeah.
They might not be your friend. Now, I'm not saying I could definitely save you money, but if I could save you $300 a week and you don't even know me because I got referred to you through Dave, I guess they're not as good a friend as you thought they were.
Right. So we kind of took away the action statement from the chapter.
Sorry.
No. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. Putting people out there with the right tools in their tool belt. That's how you inspire people. From time to time, my boss will call me and ask me, what can we do for you? And 9 out of 10 times they can't do what I need. It is what it is. I'm one of the rare people that don't sit back and say, well, I can't be successful because I can't get the tools. I inspire myself to find a way to do it without the tools that I would like handed to me from my company. And that has led to 14 straight years of being Pod's top sales guy, because no matter who throws anything in front of my path, I'm going to find a way around it. You don't want to give me the tools? Fine. But I'm talking to you, managers, VPs. Not everyone's like Eddie Potts. Not everyone is going to figure a way out. So don't send them out there without the tools, right?
Correct.
All right. So Stevie is not new to podcasts, and he's not new to networking. So this part of the segment is networking tips. So for me, if you're looking to be a leader in an organization where you're networking, well, then step up and be a leader. Don't be a wallflower. Don't just sit in the back and let everybody else do all the work. And I do that because in networking, the more visibility I get for myself, Eddie Potts, there's more visibility for my book, my podcast, and my job. The more visibility of being out in front and being able to grab that leadership and use it smartly to help other people. You know me very well. Mm-hmm. I'm a referral guy. I'm in a room to meet new people that I can refer to other people. That's what I'm there for. The Pods business, that'll come. It'll come all by itself. So for me, this happened just last week. My buddy was Mark. He was a guest on the show. We both belong to the Comac Chamber of Commerce. He joined the events committee. He ran by the idea of doing a what do they call that? Speed networking. That's what he called it.
Okay.
So we invited all our friends to Menino's in Comac. Beautiful spot. Had the second floor. And he calls me up a week for the organization. He's like, "How do we do this?"
Really?
Yeah. I'm like, "I got you, dude." I said, "Go out and buy a roll of tickets." I said, "You said you were paying for the first 500 as a donation to the chamber for everyone's drinks, right? So you give me the tickets. I'm the guy at the door. Everybody comes in. You want a free drink? Give me your business card. Once we get everybody in the room, we'll figure it out from there." He's like, "What do you mean figure it out from there?" I said, "We got to go see the layout. We got to see what's going to turn about." So he's the leader, but I'm helping him lead.
Sure.
Because he's my bud, So once the event starts going, I find out we have this side room over here, and there are some 4 tops and 2 tops and 5 tops tables. So I'm like, we were going to do a little, one-on-one, but being that we have all these tables, I revamped. And I grabbed him and I grabbed the head of the chamber. And I said, here's what we're going to do. When I say now, I'm going to introduce you, the chamber guy. I'm going to introduce you, Mark. Do your introductions to the board. And then we're going to I'm going to come back and bring everybody into the room. Everyone just go find a table. Don't sit with your buddy. Go sit with somebody totally new.
A stranger.
And they're like, I could see oh, that sounds pretty cool.
Right.
I'm making this up on the fly, obviously, but that's my nature. So we wait 15 more minutes. Everyone in the room has a cocktail. Nobody paid for a drink. Meatballs are going around. Pizzas are going around. Everyone's feeling great. Stop the event. Dead cold. Everyone be quiet. And this is what I don't like about other events that don't do this. Let's pay attention here. Let's give congrats to the people who are running this organization.
Right.
Let's give congrats to the guy who's sponsoring it. And let's network. And everyone got their introduction properly. And then we moved them all into the other room. Everybody sat down. Everybody started networking. 15 minutes in. All right, everybody get up. Switch tables. Move to another table. Did this for an hour. Can't believe the next morning I sent out a thank you email to everyone who showed. Told them to thank Mark for paying for the bar bill.
Right.
It's a $500 bar bill. It's a nice thing to do. Make use of what you did last night was in the email. You were here. You met these people. Follow up. Do a one-on-one. Be connecting. I got like 15 emails back. What a great event. That was awesome. Never been to something like that before. Great idea, but I helped him craft it into something even better. And gave him all the credit for it. That's my buddy. And you know that.
I love that idea of going to a networking event because people will just immediately go right to their friends. But that is a great idea to go sit at a table, try and sit at a table with nobody that you know.
100%.
Because that forces you to open up, forces you to communicate. You're out of your comfort zone, and that's how you're going to meet people.
It was very well received. And like I said, my buddy was like, dude, you gave me all the credit, but like you did most of it. I said, it's not about credit, bro. People were, and the funny thing is, people started to break, to leave. We were getting towards the end. And one person left. They were going to a concert, and I said, all right, stop. Everybody stop. Before we start disembarking, we're going around the room. You're getting 15 seconds to introduce yourself, introduce your business. Again, the smiles I got from my buddy and the chamber leader, like, smart move, because once people start drifting out, the room gets smaller.
Right. How many people were in attendance?
30.
Yeah, so
went
it doesn't
around the
take a
room
long
in
time.
3 minutes. Everyone got to say who they were. Those people left. Everyone stayed for another half hour who could stay. But again, just putting all the right pieces there for everyone to get something valuable out of this. That's my networking tip for the day.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Yeah, so it's so funny that you say that because I took everything I learned in direct sales when I sold pots and pans and I made it applicable in the merchant service business. So the most important thing I learned in the direct sales business is that you have to let people earn, whether they're in sales, they're in management, marketing, or what I've created in my industry is just being a referral partner. So I realized, which goes back to the earlier thing we were talking about with under promise and over deliver, my business is the greatest business in the world, but it has one flaw. And the flaw is it takes a lot of time to make money because you're dealing in pennies. So what I did is I wanted to, for lack of a better term, network, but I wanted to network in the masses. So every single person that I'm friendly with, that I'm a merchant with, whether it's I know them from playing poker because I'm in the poker world, whether I'm playing golf with 100 people on a golf list that I could play golf with, everybody knows people. Everybody knows business owners. So what I do, it's a form of networking, but I say to someone like yourself, I'll say, listen, I'll go into my pocket, I'll say, I'll give you $1,000 in cash right now if you can come up with 100 people that you know who own a business. I know you can come up with 200 people. Now, after you come up with these 100 people, I don't want you 100 people. All I want you doing is I want you making introductions to me. That's it. Stevie P, this is Dave. Dave owns a restaurant. He's my friend. Dave, this is Stevie P. He's a partner with one of the biggest credit card processing companies in America, EPSG. I hope you guys do business together, and that's it. Now I call Dave on the phone, and That's it. And basically what I'm going to do for you, how I'm going to get you motivated, is I'm going to pay you 10% in perpetuity. Like a lot of people in my industry, they're bad guys. You'll go give a referral of an account. They'll give you a $50 or $100 American Express gift card, and they'll steal all the money. I'll pay you in perpetuity for the rest of your life. And I tell people, I go, if you just gave me 1 lead a week, 1 lead a week, that's all I want. I got 290 referral partners. I can't have more than 1 lead a week. Because if you give me a lot of leads, I don't call them, you're going to think, oh, that guy Stevie P, he's full of baloney. So I'll take 1 lead a week, and I'll look you right in the eye, and I'll say, Eddie, if we reconvene July 29th of 2025, and you give me 1 lead a week, I'm going to close 40. Not because I'm so good, but because as a partner, I have the flexibility and freedom to do whatever I want. In a year from now, worst case scenario, I will bet my house, my life, anything, you'll be making $3,000 a month. That $3,000 a month, that might be your European vacation to go sit first class. It might go for a new toy, a new car. It might be putting money in a bank account for your kid's college education. So basically all I do is I am the biggest believer in networking. I just do it in a little way. Everybody I meet, I want them as a referral partner of mine.
Thank you, sir. We're going to jump into trade show tips, which is something the tip today is don't stop tracking your trade show ROI.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. A lot of people don't even know what ROI is.
Return
You and I
on investment.
we both know what that is. I don't ever give up on a show until the year's over. So I did a show in January. I went to Vegas, my first big Vegas show in about 10 years. It was a contractor show. I closed the deal on the floor. Husband there, wife back in Jersey, closed the deal. That was pretty sweet. It was for $500. Didn't pay my $5,000 to be there, my flight, my hotel, the 2 guys I could come out. But I stayed with it. And in the middle of June, I get an email from a guy that I met at the show who said, I remember you said that you can move containers. It's the only thing I remember you said. I'm moving. I'm moving from Connecticut to Washington. The estimate, because he needs the storage for 6 months, that was where he remembered me. When your new house isn't ready, when you're leaving your old house, and now you got all your shit in storage, if you're using a moving company, they're just putting you in somebody's warehouse. If you're in a POTS container, you're in my warehouse, in your container, right. Self-contained. Well, he took 2 containers. It's a $8,500 bill for 6 months to load 2 containers in Connecticut, put them in the warehouse. And again, I do for them. He's moving out there, but he doesn't need his stuff. So why pay the move? Why not we hold it here in Connecticut until you're ready to move? He goes, you're going out there, that's fine. If you don't need anything in these containers, the big part of the shipping fee, $6,000, that's the big part. If we don't ship, we don't charge you. So you can keep that $6,000 in your pocket for the next 6 months, earn a few dollars interest, whatever, keep it in your pocket. But when you say go, it's going to take me 10 days to get it out there. And it's like, wow. That's awesome.
How you earn trust.
That's how you earn trust. So the $10,000 we spent on the show all in, we've gotten back $9,000. And it could go longer. I did reach out to him the other day. And I said, how's the search going? Because I do that. He goes, not good. Not good. These containers may be in storage a little longer than I thought. I'm like, I'm sorry, not. Residual income is my world.
Right.
But again, following up, sending a note to my team, my boss and the other bosses, just giving you a heads up. I just booked this deal for $8,500 for the Vegas show. Nobody else in the team does that. I'm the guy that does that because I care about ROI. Because I own it. I've owned the businesses, and I know how important that is. So ROI, very important.
Very.
Normally, this is the time where we stop and bring you out, but you're already out here. I'd like you to grab your glass.
My pleasure.
This is called old-fashioned time. I'm not going to do the Thai mix because that's his thing. So we're just going to drink a little neat bourbon here. Ty and I met at a networking event, and we spent that night drinking old-fashions, and I was strictly a tequila guy, strictly like nobody's business. And he said, you got to try this drink, an old-fashioned. I never had one. And the guy at the Marriott made it so good. I think I had 6 that night, and I had to Uber home. But it became our drink. It became, when I'm around Ty, I'm going to have an old-fashioned. And when he started helping me with the book, he did the audio for me. In the book, I started helping him with his business. I started giving him advice. I started mentoring him. I started showing him how to do certain things in the sales world, how to run a business. Because, I mean, be honest, I run a $6 million a year business.
Mm-hmm.
I got to get paid. I got to pay my people. I got to do all those things. And what we started to realize is there are new ways to do things that are faster, better, maybe even cheaper than the old ways that you and I used to do things.
Mm-hmm.
But what Ty started realizing was some of that old way of shit, that's the core. That's the core to sales.
That's the foundation.
That's the foundation. And he's starting to build his foundation with my help. And today is an example of that. Normally, he would have flipped off the job because I would have demanded him to be here because he's my co-host. And he scheduled something on a Monday that he didn't have an option on. The customer wanted to start on Monday. It's a big job. He's going to be there for 7 days. He called me in the parking lot and said, I can't come. I said, but here's why I can't come. No excuses. No
Right.
immature little blame me. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
yeah.
Flat out, Eddie, I need to be here. The supervisor's here. The people who are paying us, they're here. I can't walk away. I got 9 guys working on the job.
Wow.
And I'm like, do you think that's the best decision? Now, I know he thought it was a trick question, but it really wasn't. It was, do you think that's the best decision? And then he picked up the phone and called me and goes, I really do. And I said, then do what's best. And I listened and I said, what's the matter? Not the answer you're expecting? And I could hear him laughing. And I said, you thought I was going to be a real dick about this, didn't you? And he said, yeah, I did. He goes, I know I'm supposed to be there. It's my responsibility. It's your podcast. He goes, I'm sorry, but this is what's best. I'm like, you're good, man.
Go for it.
So to Stevie P for filling in for Ty
My pleasure.
and making sure this podcast goes off without
good.
any problems. Little bourbon. I have a public service announcement to make. So I'm going to be 60 this year. And tomorrow will be my 4th colonoscopy. I'm just sharing it. Yep, I'm sharing it because it's really important that men of our age and men reaching the age of 50 or 60 are going out there, getting their scans and making sure that they don't have anything wrong because it's one of the most curable cancers if caught in time.
I just went for one 6 weeks ago. I go every 4 years.
I go every 3. That's
Yep.
just. Is that me? Yeah, it is. I thought I turned that volume off. It is what it is.
All good.
But anyway, every male out there, you really should be doing that every 3 years, 4 years, whatever works best. Very important.
Very important.
Because I know that if he finds something, it's treatable. And that's music.
And we all think we're indispensable until we're not. I love people.
And indestructible.
I know people, as you get older, you hear all these stories. This one passed away from a massive heart attack, and people say, "Oh, he was in good health." I go, "Well, obviously he wasn't in good health. So you just can't take your health for granted."
Cannot. So normally we would jump into this new segment. You're going to do it with me. So
Let's go.
best big win and best new connection. I'm going to go first. I did a 1-day fly up and fly back to Boston, right? Day before my vacation, bidding on a project with the LPGA. And I walked up there. It was in the country club. I brought a trainee with me and see how I do a bid. I get called into the room. Eyes get met. And then you do the, I know you. And he does the, I know you. And we remembered what golf event 7 years ago that he
Wow.
did in New Jersey that I took care of and came out and rode on the scooter with him all over the golf course. He remembered that. He remembered that I did that. I took the time to come see him. They were blown away that I flew up just for an afternoon to do a 20-minute interview for this event. Like, they were blown away by that. That connection closed the deal. So I was on vacation, the deal closed. What they didn't remember was pods can move, full storage containers. And in the interview, he said to me, I got a 40-foot trailer in Jersey. Can you get it up here? I'm like, fuck yeah. Of course I can. I said, I'll send 2 16s over there, have your crew loaded up. I'll have it in Boston in 5 days. He's like, no way. I walked out of there with the sale. I was just bidding. I was just there to bid.
Huh.
Knew the guy, had the source, had the tools, confident enough to say, yep, I can do this for you. Done. Great win. Great win. What's your big win of the week?
So I don't even know if you know this. I sit on the board of United Cerebral Palsy, and we run a once-a-year golf outing. That's always the first Thursday in August, which happens to be this Thursday, August 1st. And one of the guys, we always meet once a month at Chris and Tony's in the golf outings at North Hills Country Club, right here, exit 34 off the Expressway, New Hyde Park Road. We raise about $180,000 for CP, but it's about 25 of us on the board. And we have to meet, and we all use our resources to get stuff so that people bid on it, et cetera, et cetera. And
Sure,
that's how we raise
auction.
funds. And that's how we raise funds. Anyway, one of the guys has a telecommunications company, and he says, Stevie P calls me 3 weeks ago. He goes, and he's in the telecommunications business. He goes, Stevie P, we're going to take a ride to King of Prussia, PA on Tuesday, July 30th. And I said, Paul, why are we taking a ride to King of Prussia, PA on Tuesday, July 30th? He goes, well, we're going to go play golf, and we're going to go meet my old college roommate. I go, okay, great. What does your old college roommate do? He goes, well, he is what's called a DSO. And in the dental world, everything is being bought up, just like in the optical world, by hedge funds, and everything is moving up. So a DSO is a guy or a girl or a conglomerate that'll buy 200 practices, 300 practices, 30 practices.
I see where you're going.
So
copays, baby.
No, you can't. Not even copays. So the guy says to me, my college roommate, he owns a company called Guardian Dental. Okay, and they have 2,000 DSOs. I go, what? So he has 200 dental practices all around the country under him? He goes, yeah. He goes, they probably do $500-600 million a year. I go, all of a sudden I perked up. I go, who is this person? He goes, this is my ex-college roommate. Really? I go, and he knows why I'm coming? Stevie P, he wants to meet you. I go, well, of course he wants to meet me. If I could add just a couple of basis points when you're doing $400 or $500 million, that's tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. So make a long story short, tomorrow at 6 o'clock in the morning, just for the day, I'm picking him up in East Meadow. I'm going to King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. I'm going to look at their world headquarters for 2 hours. I lost my golf swing. I'm hoping we don't play golf tomorrow and just get back in the car. And we're going to go play golf, go have dinner, and then be home by 12 o'clock. And then Wednesday I have 3 or 4 meetings, and then Thursday is my golf outing. So that's my big win. Could be a life-changing. I deal with dental practices. I deal with periodontists, endodontists, dental labs, oral maxil people. I'm in all these different verticals, but never a DSO that has 2,000 practices under them.
So I guess you won't be at the breakfast tomorrow morning.
I will not.
I'll pass your condolences on to the team.
Yep.
So in the same vein, we talk about our best new connection of the week. And sometimes the big win is the same as the big connection. It sounds like that, possibly for you. So for me, it is the same, and I'll tell you why. So when I brought all this stuff to the PGA and we had that conversation about using pods, so they need 6 containers for the tournament at the end of August, beginning of September. And I knew that they had brought in a local company to bid as well, and I knew that. I went in and checked their prices, a little bit cheaper than mine. But walking out of that meeting, knowing that they needed those 6 containers, I had some backups to get some lower prices. But the whole long distance thing kicked in. So they already bid, the bid is over. They already brought me in. It's a big win because when they're done here, I'm going to follow them to 5 other cities for the rest of the year.
This is an event in Boston.
Yep, LPGA. It's the Ladies Professional Golf Association. So those 2 containers that I sent to Boston, they're going to eliminate whatever they eliminate, and then they're going to fill it up. And these are going to be their 2 traveling containers. No more trucks. No more shipping deliveries. They're just going to use my containers and move all around the country.
That's a beautiful thing.
It's a beautiful thing. So not being greedy, I did ask him while I was on the phone. I said, hey, Mitch, what about the local, the on-site stuff? I said, am I still in play for that? And he's like, oh, yeah, I just got to figure out how many containers we're going to use. I didn't take it for granted. You know what I'm saying? I didn't take it for granted. I still thought maybe the other guy might have done something a little cheaper, or probably did, but why do you want two companies when you're using one for this?
You asked for the order.
I asked for the business, my friend. And then he says, and this is where, you know, paying attention, listening to detail, knowing what you know. We're on the phone, and I said, so it's going to be 6 containers. He goes, well, I'm not really sure how many I need. What do you think we should do? I said, I know exactly what we should do. I said, we should order 15 containers, but have the first 6 on one date, have another 3 on another date, another 3 on another date. So if you need to cancel any of them, cancel them. But if they're on the calendar, they're yours, meaning you don't have to come back and beg me to bring me another one tomorrow because we already have backup already set up for you. And if you don't use it, I don't charge you. I said, when we do events, I don't bill you until the end. I know you do a, tally at the end. I know that. I said, let's wait and see how many you use, how many you need, and we'll take it from there. Again, adding more service. We didn't even talk about price, bro. Didn't even talk about price.
He liked you. He trusted you.
He liked me. He trusts me. He knew that I could fulfill everything that he needed with the service and was forward enough thinking to say, this is what you should do. Where sometimes when people are asking for their business, they get a little timid. They don't know how to really ask for it. But if you know your stuff, and I know you do, you know how to ask for the business.
Well, that's funny because a lot of people think they ask for the order, but they really don't ask for the order.
Right.
You got to ask for the order.
Ask for the business. Ask for the business. So at this point, we're going to go into just a little Q&A on you. A lot of the stuff has already been answered because I knew that. I knew that would happen, but that's okay because, one of the biggest questions I have for you is you always say what you say about being, the filthiest industry and all that.
Shark-infested waters. That's my new tagline that someone gave me.
And I appreciate that, and I know that. So then why would you put your son through it?
Real simple. Because for the old school people, I like to think of myself as the Charles Bronson of the credit card processing business.
Charles Bronson.
I am
Death Wish, baby.
I am a one-man now, a two-man vigilante, just trying to clean up this business. There are so many people that it's a lost leader. People just have no idea.
They don't know. They don't know what they don't know.
But they think they know.
Oh,
so when you're dealing with business owners,
they get arrogant.
And I'll never listen. If they want to talk like they're from Harvard, I talk like I'm from Harvard. If they want to talk like from the street,
Brooklyn.
I can talk like I'm from the street. If they want to use profanity, I can use profanity. If they want to talk very civil and calm, I always say I never start the war, but I always finish. I go, listen, if a guy owns a business, he goes, Stevie, my friend does my processing. Stevie, I'm in a good place. Stevie, I'm in a contract. I go, number one, you're not in a contract. You've been with your processor for 6 years, so don't tell me you're in a contract because any contract in my industry is only three years, and then it auto-renews, and an auto-renew is not good. Secondly, 99% of the processors in this country, they raise your prices slowly but surely that you would never even know they were raising your prices.
So incrementally, you would never notice.
You never know it. I go, also, what I'm going to do is I'm going to guarantee your rate. I go, listen, all I'm asking for you to do is have your receptionist, have your bookkeeper, have your controller, send me your last 3 months of merchant statements. If I tell you you're good, you're good. If I tell you you're good, you're good.
No,
let me ask you a question, Eddie. If I could save you $500-600 a month, are you good? No, you're not good.
Good. My ears are open. Man.
Right. So that's it. It doesn't cost you anything. The worst thing that could happen is that I tell you that you're good. And if I tell you that you're good, then you don't have to worry about it for another 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
So
bringing your son in is really expanding your business.
Well,
building a little bit of a legacy.
Well, the problem, yes, but the problem with me is it's a good problem to have. I have 2,800 leads because I have 290 referral partners. I'm in 7 different verticals. The verticals I'm in, I'm very big in the dental vertical. I'm very big in senior assisted living. I control just about every retail camera store in the United States. I'm very big in wholesale jewelry. I'm very big in private jets, and I'm very big in wholesale plumbing and heating. That industry never took credit cards before, but now because I guess my industry is blowing up, not because of me, my company.
Because of the new regulations.
The new regulations.
Things.
And now everybody, all these consumers, they want these stupid points. The points. Everybody wants the points. So if you're a plumbing wholesaler and I'm your customer and I spend $300,000 a year with you and my dad and your dad did business, I don't want to pay you by a check. I don't want to pay you with cash. I don't want to pay you ACH. I want to get some type of benefit from spending that $300,000. So between that and now we get 2,000 contracts a week on a national basis, whether it's e-commerce, whether it's card not present like your business is, whether it's a retail store. And my business is going away from retail. It's more card not present in e-commerce. 80% of the businesses in this country since COVID are getting rid of their fees, and they're pushing the fee of the customer. It's becoming, even people who don't believe in it, they just have to do it because, like I said before, they have higher labor, they have higher gas, they have higher shipping, they have higher cost of product.
That's all real. I want to say that is real, because I know when before COVID started, and excuse me, pods, I think we were our high end guys were making $20 an hour, and the lower end guys were making 17, 18 an hour, somewhere in that vertical. We're at 25 and 28 now. That didn't just happen. We didn't have to raise our prices because we're trying to rob you. Our labor costs went up. Fuel, I hate to say it, beginning of COVID, fuel was $1.99 a gallon. It's been over $3 for the past 4 years.
Right.
Who picks up the cost on that? How can you continually give it to a consumer and make money? So I totally understand the switch in it. I do.
Yeah, and with we're very big in hospitality too with restaurants. The newest thing is the laws changed in February 2024, so you have to be transparent like I talk about in our meetings. You can't have a separate line item now. Now what you have to do is just the opposite. They used to call it a discount for cash. It really wasn't a discount for cash. That's an oxymoron. It was really a surcharge for paying by credit cards. Now, as of February 2024, MasterCard, Visa, Discover, Amex, New York State all clamped down, and they want every business owner to assume that everybody's paying by credit card. And then, so it gives the business owner, gives the ability to the business owner to raise their prices anywhere from 4, 5, 6%, whatever they want to do. And then if someone does pay by check or ACH and you give them an option, then you give them a real 4% discount.
Right.
And to be honest with you, we, the processor, that's what we are. We're the processor. When somebody goes to this model, we make 3x. I mean, I have sales reps that used to make $80,000 a year that I'm making $270,000, $300,000 a year, because instead of making 20 basis points on a deal, they're making 150 basis points on a deal. So the little secret sauce in my business, what I do that no one does. So we just have a restaurant in Hicksville that's closing on Wednesday after 50 years, a restaurant called Peppercorns. It's a steakhouse by the Hicksville train station. Guy does two guys, Sean, Tom, they do a great business. They do about couple $100,000 a month, and I went to get their business about 9 months ago, and they said, Stevie, we're already pushing the fee of the customer, so thank you, and they tried and shoo you away. I go, no, and they look at me, what do you mean no? They go, Stevie, are you a knucklehead? We said we're already charging the fee of the customer. I go, let me ask you a question. I said, let's say his name was Eddie. I said, Eddie, is your current processor sharing in the revenue with you? And they look at you like a deer in the headlights, and they go, what the hell are you talking about? I go, you do $200,000 a month. I go, let me explain to you. Here's the little secret sauce. You charge the customer 4. The guy or girl who you're with is charging you 3.85. Well, that's spread between 3.85 and 4%. That covers all your fees. That's how you're pushing the fee of the customer. I go, here's what I'm going to do. You're still going to charge the customer 4. Instead of charging you 3.85 and being a pig, and going for every penny I have to, I'm going to charge you 3.5. You're still going to charge the customer 4, and that 50 basis points of profit I'm going to give to you. So if you do $200,000 a month, 50 basis points is 0.5%. That's $1,000 a month. So in addition to getting rid of your fees, I'm going to give you $12,000 a year.
How do you pay it back?
In their batch. So when they batch out every day, the money that goes into their bank account the next day is more than their batch.
Is there a line item for it?
Yeah.
Just curious for my own benefit, obviously.
Yep.
Just curious. So you got to remember after today that I want to introduce you to Mark, and then I'm going to forward it with a question. So do you do online credit cards too?
Yeah, that's like e-commerce.
So e-commerce. So Etsy. I have a friend who has a website on Etsy.
Okay.
But we order directly through Etsy. So I get the feeling that we have to use their credit card processor.
That's called a proprietary software. So in the again, I go back to dental. In dental, there's something called Dentrex or SoftDent. When you're in like PayPal, when someone says, Stevie P, I'm with PayPal or Square, I know they're getting screwed.
Right, but I'm asking you, can you service the Etsy account or no?
We would give them we might be able to give them an alternative account. That's when I have to speak to my IT people to see if we work with Etsy. I would think Etsy would have their own proprietary software. They would
So
be in
if
bed.
you're on Etsy, you have to go through theirs, is really what you're saying.
Well, they might have something called, now I'll sound like I know what I'm talking about, but
Yeah.
I don't. They might have something called what's called an open API, which means if they have an open API that you can integrate with Etsy. So that's what I have to find out. So
Okay.
I would have to speak to them.
So I have a friend who just opened a new business on Etsy. I'm trying to help him with a little bit of marketing, a little bit of sales, just good friend. And obviously I thought of you for that. So my other friend, Mark, he owns a security company.
Okay.
Every month, people are charged for their security bill in their
Reoccurring
homes.
billing.
Reoccurring billing. Is that something you can
Love it.
jump onto? And,
All day,
and
every day.
get
all
him
day.
get him some extras and get Eddie Pod some extras.
All
Putting
day.
on the camera, putting them on the camera.
Win-win for everybody. Win-win for the merchant. Win-win for the referral partner.
So
Win-win.
I'm going to introduce you guy to Mark. Mark Simpson was a guest of mine. He's one of my best friends. He's the guy I did the event with at the Comac Chamber. Real humble guy. He hired me once to leave pods and it didn't happen. Company got bought before it could transpire. He still feels that someday I'm going to be a sales manager, not a salesman. I'm done with the sales role after pods, but come in as run his sales team.
More of a mentor.
Yeah, and he has a lot of connections in that space that I just spoke about, from security to camera security. But what I do know about most of it's on credit.
Yeah.
And I just thought that could be a home run for both of us and for him too. Maybe
How long have you been in that industry?
20 years, 25 years. He knows people.
That's what my son came out of that industry. He was in New York City, and they were in key fobs and cameras and all these big end office buildings. So that is a fantastic vertical, and I know
Do you want me to do the introduction to your son or to you? Serious, because he's there. He's younger than me. He's younger than you. He's like 45 years old. And I'm only because I know you're trying to help your son grow the business. Is this something that we gear towards Adam, or is this something that you grab?
Either or, because usually what I'll do is
You'll set the table.
I'll set the table
Got
for him,
it.
and then I pass it him.
Okay.
Because to be honest with you, his follow-up is a million times better than mine because I'm spread in a million different directions.
Got
So
it.
is he. But I would probably do the original intro.
Okay. My last question for you before we wrap up. Do you guys have a website?
Yes.
An Evo website?
Sure. Well, it's it's
Gotcha.
www.EPSG, Eddie Peter Sam Goat, www.goepsg.com.
If anyone here in my audience, I mean, we're out on, we have our own YouTube channel. We're trying to grow the brand, trying to get everyone to spread the love of podcast, slip of the tongue. But where else can we reach you if someone says, "Oh, I like that guy Stevie P. I want to get a checkout. I want to see what I'm doing." What number?
All they have to do is give me a call on my cell. That's
Go ahead,
the
give
best
it.
way.
Look at the camera.
516-322-0057.
One more time.
516-322-0057. Just say you saw me on Eddie's podcast, and that's one of the things that separates our company and myself being a partner with EPSG is I always pick up my phone 24/7. So in my industry, it's not always just about pricing. It's all about service, because I hear from so many people all the time, Eddie, that when the guy or girl wanted my business, they hounded me. They called me. They chased me. They chased every day. When I got a problem, I can never get anybody on the phone. So I always say to people, listen, great pricing with horrible service equals no more merchant. They're gone, because when they're calling you, they have a problem. Either they didn't get their money, they had fraud on their bank account, they got to change their bank account, they got a problem with their machine. You gotta service. You know better than
I do.
you
Of course.
I'm in a service industry. You're in a service industry.
100% service.
Pricing is great, but pricing without service, you're not growing.
You just heard me close a big deal without ever talking about pricing. Can you do this? Was the question.
Yeah.
They trusted. They believed. Yeah. Those containers arrived yesterday.
And you have to believe what you do, that you're going to be in this business for a long time, because, like a couple of people say, I think our friend Chris Galuzzo says it, and I never used to be this way. You got to be a good loser. I say, show me a good loser, and I'll show you a loser. But you get there's that fine line where you never know, because I've had in the last year maybe 4 or 5 big merchants call me. They went with someone else for whatever reason. A couple of them were in the West Coast, and they said, "Oh, I'm going to go with someone local." I go, "Bro, are you kidding me?" I go, "It doesn't matter if the credit card processing world where you are. I mean, no one's coming over to you. 99% of the problems are being fixed remote, online. They're not coming to you and actually fixing your machine." And it's just all about service and putting yourself out there and handling it the right way.
So we're coming to the end of the podcast. If you want to reach me, Eddie Pods, if you want me to come into your office and talk to your sales team, share with them some of the secrets from the book, I'd be happy to do that. You could reach me at eddie@becomeasaleswarrior.com. That's my email address. Or you could go to howtobecomeasaleswarrior.com website. And if you want to find us on YouTube, it's under Eddie Pods, How to Become a Sales Warrior. And last but not least, should you need a pod storage container for moving, please reach out to me at 631-334-8587 or eadelman@pods.com. It's been a pleasure to have you here for episode number 15 of How to Become a Sales Warrior. We will be back next week, I promise. Have a great day, everybody.